Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes, and we are 6 days out from Election Day. It is shaping up to be one of the closest elections anyone has seen in U.S. history, certainly in the modern era of polling. We got a ton of polls nationally and the key 7 swing states basically all showing a dead heat between Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. If you watch this program, if you're someone in what we used to call the reality-based community, I think you understand that this is a very tight race in a closely divided country that genuinely could go either way. The story on the right is not that.
Joe, how's it going to end?
Landslide for Trump. Electorally, he wins every swing state.
They are throwing everything they can, as Donald Trump's early voting numbers are great, as his odds in the betting markets are ascendant.
It's over. Donald Trump's got this.
I don't see where the votes come from for Kamala Harris. She's not a good candidate, and the issues are on the side of Donald Trump. He wins this. He wins this quite easily. Save the tape. Play it back if I'm wrong.
The race is over, but the integrity of the election is still in question.
Now, this is just a sampling, and it comes from the top, but the story on the right has been for a while that Trump is cruising to victory, that he's way ahead, that the Harris campaign has collapsed, that the only way they can win is stealing it. That is not at all what the available data says, not what the polls are saying. It's just as untrue as it was 4 years ago. But it hasn't stopped Donald Trump from telling the same lies on the campaign trail this year.
They're going to cheat. They cheat. That's all they want to do is cheat. And when you see this, it's the only way they're going to win. And we can't let that happen. And we can't let it happen again. We're going to have no country.
Are they cheating, Michael? They're trying, but are they? They're not going to get away with it, right?
If we win and when we win, we're going to prosecute people that cheat on this election. And if we can, we'll go back to the last one, too.
Now, again, as far as we can tell, Donald Trump can very well just win this election outright in 6 days. He might. But as he's been telegraphing for 4 years, the plan, the definite plan, is to cheat and to sow doubt about the outcome in advance so he can claim the election has been stolen, just like he did last time. In fact, yesterday, one of the ex-cons advising Donald Trump put on 3 shirts and gave a press conference after getting out of jail. Almost immediately, Steve Bannon said Trump's main mistake on election night in 2020 was that he took too long to falsely declare victory, a mistake he said Trump shouldn't make again this year.
President Trump came up at 2:30 in the morning and talked. He should have done it at 11 o'clock at night in 2020. Okay? I am urging President Trump, if the votes come in like it looks like they're going to come in, he should step up and inform the American citizens of exactly what's going on and not keep people in the dark like was done in 2020.
Okay, so this is all clear as day, right? We're all seeing this. They're doing it on camera into microphones. They're not like running around in the dark. They are running the same stop the steal playbook as they did 4 years ago when they lost an election by like 4.5 points. That would be, of course, the coup attempt that Trump and dozens of others are still facing prosecution for. In fact, this evening, a reporter asked Trump about his election night plans while the ex-president was dressed in a reflective vest climbing into his Trump-branded garbage truck.
Could you imagine any circumstances under which you would be defeated but not say that the election was stolen?
If it was a corrupt election, that could happen.
Do you anticipate to declare victory on election night?
I hope that we're going to declare a victory. I mean, they spend all that money on machines. It's like very sad when you get machines, you pay all that money, and they talk about 3 days later. I think we're going to have a big enough victory to maybe have it that night.
To the extent that you could make any kind of like coherent propositional content out of those statements, which is often a challenge, it's basically the same shtick, right? This time, the Republican central message is getting an enormous signal boost, not just from Fox, of course, where it is, but from the social media platform X and its owner, Elon Musk, the Trump-loving reactionary billionaire, the world's biggest broker of disinformation. That's just one place where Trump and his allies are now posting false claims about cheating at large-scale levels in Pennsylvania early voting. On Wednesday, it turned out there might be some voter fraud being committed, not in Pennsylvania, not by Democrats. In fact, on Tuesday, Indiana State Police said they had arrested a Republican precinct committeeman and former congressional candidate named Larry Savage. Police say he stole 2 ballots from a test of voting machines and then claimed the machines were flawed.
According to court documents, investigators also searched his phone and found a text that morning reading, "Sis, they say anything about the ballots I took?" Investigators also say he posted on a social media page condemning Madison County election procedures after taking those ballots. Police found the ballots in his truck later that day.
This is one of the worst things that can happen, given the national climate about integrity of elections, to intentionally steal ballots and then attack the system. I can't imagine a bigger disservice to our community than that.
Just to be clear, this genius went and stole ballots after a machine test and then posted about how like there was a miscount, and then they found the ballots in his truck. Okay. Meanwhile, as Republicans are setting the scene for, again, another attempt to overturn the election results, basically a declaration of victory independent of what the voters decide. What Democrats are left doing is the work of democracy, which is trying to win, right? To do what they did in 2020 and 2022, which is to get people who they have persuaded, who agree with them on the issues, to go out and vote and to win a close race. David Plouffe is a senior advisor for the Harris campaign, and he joins me now here in New York City. It's good to see you.
See you, Chris.
I feel like you've got much more important work since the last time that we spoke. we were sharing takes on cable news. Now
exactly.
you've got a real job.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Good. It's going to be close, but we like what we're seeing in early vote. We like who the undecided voters are. I think we have momentum at the end. What they're doing right now is super puzzling. Doesn't betray any confidence, by the way, whatsoever. There are still undecided voters out there, and they don't like this stuff. And it's also, I think, not a great signal to send to your supporters that you think you've got it in the bag or it's stolen. We saw what happened in the Georgia Senate runoffs really hurt Republican turnout. So this is going to be super close. We're just sticking to our knitting here and trying to turn out every voter we can. But he's not closing a presidential race particularly well.
When we talk about close, I mean, people come up to me, and I'm sure in your life all the time, to the extent that you're not just change your desk, and it's like, they say, like I have some secret knowledge. What's going to happen? And I say, we just got the data we have, which is like a very close race. I want to just affirm this. You guys aren't sitting on some secret data. I mean, obviously more data than what we have publicly, but like from your view, it looks like what we're seeing.
A lot more data, as the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
And they're not acting like a campaign that's incredibly confident. Like this Pennsylvania temper tantrum is all about Trump, I'm sure, being briefed on early vote numbers, not liking them,
right,
and wanting to be able to declare at 11, as Steve Bannon said, he's going to win because he's likely going to be ahead in the count at that point. So we have a lot of data. But what it has shown us from the very beginning, when Kamala Harris entered this race, we were losing by quite a bit. We've been able to get that narrowed to basically a dead heat race everywhere. But you know, listen, I think if we're going to be surprised on the upside on election night, it may be that we do even better with women voters than public polling and even our own data shows. That's the only surprise. What we're seeing is basically this thing's going to come down to 0.3, 0.4, 0.7, 1 point in all 7 states.
If that's the case, right, and there's not a big polling mess, because there could be. No one knows what the future, right? And it could be in either direction. Just want to be clear on this, right? What's most important in the next 6 days, like from your perspective?
Well, and I would say this, we're being enormously conservative in our own data around Trump, you know, saying, okay, he surprised us in 16 and 20, so let's make sure we are giving him the strongest performance.
Yes.
Okay. And I think a lot of public pollsters are doing that. So for us, we've got Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, surrogates all over the battlegrounds. Reaching those few undecided voters that are left are important, trying to encourage people to vote early, to volunteer. And then the most important thing is on the ground, because in all these states, some are going to have well over 50% of the vote cast by the election day, some a third. So it's a more narrow list of people. And you say, I know Chris is voting for me, and he hasn't voted yet. I want to talk to him multiple times.
This is an important point I just want to make for folks that are thinking about the race, whatever their politics are, and I think you should vote whatever your politics are, that the early vote is good for campaigns if it's for them, right? For 2 reasons. One, you don't want to leave anything to chance, an enormous freak blizzard. But 2, to reiterate that point, you know who's voted early, you know who's left outstanding, and you've got a good sense of who your voters are. And if they're not, if they voted early, you've reduced the universe of get out the vote on election day.
And so the Republicans, you know, Trump's been somewhat inconsistent on this, but his campaign's been consistent. They want people to vote early.
Right.
So that's what's happening. I think people are looking, a lot more Republicans are voting than they did in 20. Yeah. Like, of course. That's what we anticipated. More Democrats are returning to voting on Election Day. So, yes, in every state now, we have a smaller pile than you would if no one voted early. So we can build an organization. I will say to anybody who's watching this who's anxious, go to KamalaHarris.com, your local organization. You can sign up for door knocking shifts, phone shifts, texting shifts. There are people out there every day you hear from a volunteer says, I talked to somebody.
Yes.
They weren't sure they were going to vote. I think I persuaded them to vote. And our message is going to be clear. Super close race, massive stakes, every little bit of effort and every vote can make a difference.